Hello, it's good to have you join us for your favorite program. This is Close Flow coming to you from your Reach Out station, NTA2 Channel 5 Lagos. So we have been here for a while now, and we are sure that many of you have also been part of this dream team of trying to reach out to all Nigerians and make sure that the narrative about our great country continues to improve every day. Well, it's a season again that many of us, we consider ourselves that we need to celebrate what life really means, or what love is all about, or what defines our faith. So what are we talking about here? We are saying to ourselves, all right, so if I'm saying to myself that I'm the adherent of a particular faith, or a set of belief, or some tenets about how to worship, then what are the expectations? What are the takeaways? What are the fruits which must come from that, my conviction? As a nation, we know that, we have multiple religious belief, religious worship and adherents. But what do we say to ourselves as citizens? Are we contributing to how the story of Nigeria is either being shaped, reshaped, or damaged? We also want to ask ourselves as citizens, are we actually, truly and truthfully making sure that what we are convinced should change our lives, should make us to prosper, should also impact on the lives of other citizens, irrespective of what they believe or what they accept. Now, so these are some of the elements about nation building that we are worried about, and we are saying to ourselves, since we are in a season to celebrate life, to celebrate faith, to celebrate true love, then it is good for us to bring to the table what should define all these life-impacting values. So we decided to call distinguished Nigerians, incidentally, two of them actually for this particular event, or for this particular discussion, or for this particular conversation. Both of them are teachers. They are actually profound teachers. Both of them, well, they have grown through the years. One grew up teaching, another grew up being a banker. Both of them now are actually teachers of Abrahamic faith. They are now biblical teachers. They are teaching you how to use your faith, how to employ your faith, how to use your relationship with the Lord Almighty to change the story of your country and your own life story. So we asked two of them to join us on this show so we can then interrogate them or borrow their brains and see how we can change our lives and how we can change our country. So just stay with us, because now we are going to start. But before we start, we would like you to enjoy their profile. We have actually captured their profile with our e-flyer so that you can also take that and copy it into your phone to share with your friends the impressive record of who our guest on this show is today. So stay with us. I will be back shortly.
Hey, beautiful. Your eyes, your smile are all begging me to take you home tonight.
Now reading page 3.
Experience unlimited superfast internet access from Entel 4G.
Entel. Live more.
Experience unlimited superfast internet access from Entel 4G.
Entel. Live more.
They have the very impressive profiles of our distinguished guests. Right with me here in the studio, I have the banker. Well, he used to be in the bank, ran away. He decided to abandon the bank so that he can go and teach. Tell us about God. You're welcome to Close Flow.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
This is Reverend Chris UBAMADU. You're welcome to Close Flow.
My pleasure.
And then all the way from Benin, Obatokpe, we have Reverend Elizabeth. Are you with us? Hello, Reverend Mother. Can you hear us? Can you respond to our greetings? Hello. Oh, great. Happy Easter. And so all the way from Benin, we have Reverend Mrs. Elizabeth Ifeanyichukwu Egwowa. You're welcome to Close Flow.
Thank you for having me.
Again, I say Obatokpe. All right, now, so here we go. We have both of our guests, incidentally, abandoned what they were doing before, and they now took up the missionary work. So the question will be this. Let me start with Chris. I will come back to Reverend Mother later. Chris, so what is faith, really? What exactly is faith? What is it that is about faith that will make you to abandon where money is coming in and going out to go and start...
All right, thank you. Happy Easter to you and
Easter.
your crew, and of course our fellow Nigerians. It's a pleasure to be with you to discuss this beautiful day. I also want to greet my mama, Elizabeth, all the way from Benin. Mama, I greet you. Happy Easter to you and our daddy. I hope you're doing very well today. I greet you, ma.
Reverend Mother, you're not
hear
answering. Can you answer that quickly? I think we are losing her. We cannot get her a response. Okay, Chris, go ahead. I'm sure she will get back to us. Okay, so
yes, if I were to answer you directly, there is nothing like abandonment. Okay,
I like that. I like that.
There is nothing like abandonment. One has to get to the point where you understand the difference between a profession and your calling. At times, two of them can be the same.
At times,
they will be divergent. So when they are divergent, like in my case they were, as a professional banker and also pastoring, I have been pastoring actively since 2006.
Whoops.
Yes. And then pastoring and being a banker at the same
time. Yes.
Yes, so I did that for several years until circumstances made it impossible to continue to combine them. So I then chose to, spend more time, with the work, the spiritual work, and then at the same time doing other things.
Yes.
Like you saw from the profile, I do other things. I have some other businesses and, financial concerns that are also going, because I'm convinced that anything that directly impacts on people's spiritual
yes.
and emotional and physical well-being ought to take priority. Now that's where purpose comes in, because my understanding was that this was my purpose. So for in life. So for me, in order of priority
yes.
and impact, that came first. My profession came second. If you look at the Bible, you will see that there were a lot of people who were like that. We saw Paul of Tarsus, who was a tent maker, but then he was an apostle. Even Peter was a fisherman. Even Jesus
was a carpenter.
Then you go back to Abraham. He was a businessman. You go to Isaac. You go to Jacob. So some people just have this feeling that you just have to leave every other thing and just focus on the missionary work. It's not always so. So in my experience, you can have your life also running in other dimensions, because you also must be useful to society.
Otherwise,
yes, you must be in a situation where you are able to show the people that you are teaching and mentoring that you are also part of the system. They feel more comfortable relating with you, knowing that you didn't jump from the sky, that you are not completely out of reach, or you talked about Lagos traffic a few minutes ago.
Yes.
If I stood on the pulpit and I'm talking about the traffic, the people I'm talking to understand,
Where
I'm coming from, because I do that. I do my 9 to 5. I go to work. I earn my living. They understand. I understand them. They understand me. We all both know the challenges. So I felt I connect more as a practitioner of everyday life
rather than
just
being
like
a preacher.
Priest,
Okay.
a preacher, yes. So,
all right, great. So that is Reverend Chris for you. Let's see if we can get Reverend Mother back on the screen. Hello. Are you here with us now?
Yes, I'm very well. I'm here with you.
Okay, great. So first, let me hear your response to Chris, because he was greeting you profusely from here.
I greet you, Mama. Happy Easter.
Yes. Happy Easter to you as well.
So good to see you.
I hope you had a very wonderful Easter Sunday.
Yes, I had a great day, and today will be greater.
Yes.
How is my bishop doing?
The bishop is doing very fine.
Wow, we miss you. We miss you, people.
Okay, it's enough of missing. Nigerians, Reverend Mother, Nigerians are missing you also, so we want to hear from you. Okay, the question on the table is this. What really is faith? Because you ran away from teaching. You ran away from teaching children in schools, and you now started mounting the rostrum to be preaching to people. Why did you abandon your teaching profession to become a preacher?
I didn't abandon my teaching profession. It's just a foundation.
Yes.
It's just the beginning of it all. It's not like I abandoned it. I've not left it. I rather made it better by preaching and teaching the word of God. Because faith is what you believe. Even in my preaching and teaching, so I've not left it. Very much in the teaching profession, but on a higher calling, I will see.
All right, that is brilliant again. Thank you. You have only buttressed what Chris said earlier on. But now the question on the table now, let's quickly hear from Reverend Mother this time before we hear from you. Now, where do you see the faith of Nigerians? You have said, you have defined faith for us as what we believe in. Where do you see the faith of Nigerians in setting out national goals for us to overcome poor governance and the impunity of office holders? Where do you see our faith? How can you see us employing our faith to set up national goals and then to remove the impunity of office holders?
The faith of Nigeria.
Yes.
Nigeria is a country, is a nation, and Nigeria is made up of people, and people who have different belief systems. We are
Religious.
Religious.
Yes.
So I would put it.
Yes.
But in any case, the fact remains that as a Christian, let me speak from my own point of view. As a Christian, a believer in Christ Jesus, the Bible makes us to understand that the government of the nation shall be upon his shoulder. So, as a believer, as a Christian, I will not lose faith concerning Nigeria. I still believe that something good, better days are ahead in Nigeria. In spite of all the odds and the differences and all the challenges, there is still hope for Nigeria as long as we continue to pray to God and we continue to trust Him to turn around the situation. I believe the minds of the people are controlled by God. And as we continue to call upon His name in prayers, I believe that giving time, those who are using impunity to govern us, giving time, they will come to their senses and things will get better for Nigeria.
Okay, that has been prophetic and optimistic. So let me leave it to, let's see how Chris would deal with that reality. So how do you think Nigerians have faith, actually? in Nigeria as a nation when you look at this?
It's a difficult question to answer because when you interact with a lot of Nigerians and you get the feedback from them, you have this sense of there's this sense of, especially what's prevalent right now, there's this sense of aloofness. There is, some people are disappointed, heartbroken, especially the younger generation, heartbroken, and a lot. If you visit the embassies, it becomes easier for you to understand how deep Nigerians have faith in the system. The number of people applying to leave the country, those who can't even afford to go through the legal means, are willing to risk their lives, to find other alternatives just to leave. It's like an escape mentality.
Yes.
A lot of people just want to escape. So we are dealing with that. But I think that the majority of Nigerians find themselves in situations where they need to find a way to first survive, and then secondly, which is where I think we need to begin to have conversation, is how we can use our presence to better the situation. Because I tell young people all the time, the country that you were going to, somebody built it. Somebody built it. You go there and you like, this place works, and you curse Nigeria and all that, but somebody built it so that it becomes attractive to you. So can we rebuild our country? Is there something that we can do to rebuild our country? And then when you come from the angle of faith, we are a multi-religious society. Most Nigerians believe in one faith or the other. My position is this: whatever faith you believe has an element of nation building embedded in it. To what extent are you living those truisms? To what extent are you living to those tenets that will enable you to be a solution provider? Now, I'm a Christian, and one of the things I hold dearly to is the scripture that Jesus used in Matthew chapter 5.
Okay.
In verse 13, he says that you are the salt of the earth. Then he goes down to say you are the light of the world. Those two things are phenomenal. Light brings illumination.
And takes away darkness.
Takes away darkness. Light brings solution. If you walked in this studio and there wasn't light, you are likely to stumble. You wouldn't even know where to get yourself seated and all of that. So we are in a country that is dark. So you are the answer. You are the answer. So when we go on our knees and we're praying and we're saying, God, change this country, at times I think that God is also looking at us and say, oh, please, Chris, change Nigeria. So because I've given you the authority, I've made you the light. So we are crying about the darkness, but we are the lights. So all I need to do is to shine more. Shine more. What can I do in the sector where I am to provide answers? Today, funny enough, the problems of Nigeria are the opportunities that discerning minds can see. The things that we cry about
Others
are actually opportunities. So if you now marry these problems as challenges as opportunities with the fact that you are the solution provider, if you can bridge that gap, then you see that what you would have run away from, you will run towards it because you see an opportunity to solve the problem
and convert
it. Then he says that you are the salt of the earth. My little understanding in elementary biology, I know that salt, two things that salt does: it preserves. Once you sprinkle salt on any food item, it keeps it long. The shelf life is prolonged a bit longer than because it eliminates microbes and all of those things that lead to spoilage.
Yes.
Another thing that salt does, which I actually think is the real reason Jesus used the word salt, is because salt is a sweetener. If you have a plate of food in front of you and it's not salted, no matter the ingredients in that plate of food, you're not going to enjoy it. So salt is a sweetener. So imagine we are talking to God to take us out of Nigeria, and we're supposed to be the sweetener. How do you think God is going to treat that prayer?
Okay. I wouldn't want to sell what he doesn't what he doesn't ask, what he has not asked me to sell.
Okay.
Because I think this man is a merchandiser. All right, now we'll come back to Reverend Mother. But one thing that Chris has said, and which also she mentioned, is the fact that churches and mosques are scaling up. Virtually every corner you turn to, you see a new church, you see a new mosque, you see. I mean, and then you have worshippers, you have adherents, you have, increasing in number.
I'll tell you why.
But what I need to say now, Chris, is that
Yes.
also the number of impoverished mouths or impoverished life continues to scale up just as the churches are scaling up. Why?
I'll tell you why. A lot of people are going to places of worship because they need hope. They need hope. They need someone to tell them.
Are we saying that what they see outside on the street is a hopeless situation?
Oh, yes, it is. With all equivocation, yes, it is. The situation is hopeless. Let me give you a typical example. Somebody is sick and you don't have money to go to a private hospital, for instance. You are likely to have to depend on your faith to survive. That's why they go to the churches. That's why they go to the mosques. They go to places where they are looking for answers. They're looking for miracles. They are looking for miracles. And that's why also, if you look and compare us to all the countries that are developed, you see that they don't have much people in the churches and in the mosque. Why? Because they have a functional system. If you are sick, you know that you will get health care. You are likely not to be driven first to pray. Do you get it now? But the guy who does not have access to quality health care, doesn't have the means to pay for it, will have no other choice but to resort to prayer.
To go and look for Reverend Chris.
Look for
Okay, all right, Reverend Mother, before somebody begins to call you from UK for prayer. So what are you saying about what Chris had just said? We are having many industries going down, businesses dying, but churches growing and mosques growing. What do you think we should do to stop that?
I lost you people on it because I didn't hear what he said.
Okay, let me run it again. It's good I did not hear Chris, so you can give us your own experience. We are saying that we are having many more new churches, new mosques everywhere, and as we are having this number of faith outlets, many hungry people are on the streets. Why? Why should that be?
Well, first and foremost, I want to say that many hungry people are on the street because of the situation in the country. So we have so many people, those who were working before, they have lost their jobs. So the tendency for the rate of poverty to increase is there. And everyone who is in need goes back to his maker and begin to call upon the maker. And that is why you see many people trooping to churches, seeking for God's intervention.
Yeah.
So as much as there are many poor people in a society, the tendency is that they will cry to God. So, but in any case, there's always a solution. It can't remain like that. Things has to change. And as they come to know God, I believe, even the Bible rightly puts it, that in the end time, which we are now, there are going to be a lot of churches coming up, a lot of worship places, even among the Muslims. A lot of mosques are springing up, like you said.
Yeah.
But be that as it may, we still have to still hope on God and trust in Him and do our little bit. That as we hear the word of God, we should put it to practice, because if we desire a change, the change should start from us. All the things we've been hearing in our places of worship, if we can now put them to practice, make them our way of life. Because I do believe that there is no religion that teaches that you should destroy your nation. But rather, the emphasis is on you making where you are, your country, to be a better place. So if everyone who goes to different places of worship can put what they hear, the word of God, into practice, I believe that the society will be a better place. Besides, if you are talking about leaders, we are talking about presidents, we are talking about governments,
Yes.
they are taken from among us. And it is what the society has made of them, what the country has made of them. That is the only thing that they can give back to us. So, but then, in any case, everyone has to work on himself or herself, so that we ensure that this our country becomes better again. Thank you.
Now, again, that is another brilliant. We must doff our
Yes,
hat to
yes.
Reverend Mother. Now, but as a parent, now this is where other challenges will come. You're a father of three.
Yes.
She also is a mother, and so you have also been a teacher. Incidentally, my mother is a teacher, and she always says that once a teacher, always a teacher.
Yes.
Now, the challenge that I seem to have, or that is on the table, the end-to-end mutual benefits that should grow in Nigerians or amongst Nigerians, in spite of our ethnic differences. We don't seem to have it. Why is tribalism or ethnocentric behavior? Why do we have that on the table all the time, as opposed to your conviction as a Christian, for instance?
There are many ways to look at the issue of tribalism and ethnicity in Nigeria. To be honest, it will be difficult to eradicate, because the first identity you have as a growing child is the identity of where you are coming from, your mother tongue, which already ties you to a tribe. So you cannot deny your tribe. But what we are teaching and asking people to do is to grow to the level of education where you understand that the way you see your tribe is the way the other person sees his tribe, and that we can coexist. In doing that, there must be a focus on what unites us as against what divides us. Because if you look at what was prevalent in the last few weeks because of politics and all of that, you will see that the things that the proponents of those kind of behavior are pushing forward are contrary to what you see because in this world you must always compare yourself. You must always benchmark. And you look at countries. The Canadian government is taking in thousands and thousands of immigrants every day. The UK government is doing that. The US government, when people come out and they say, oh, American lottery visa, you think because they love you? No, they need that diversity that you bring. They need your presence to continue to grow stronger and stronger. The only countries that are not doing that are the very highly populous ones like China and India and the likes.
Yes.
So if you then benchmark yourself with countries that you want to be like, you see that those guys are opening their arms to receive more diversity, to be greater, and then you are despising your own diversity. So that shows that there is something wrong with that mindset. However, this is my own personal perspective to it.
Yes.
I think the issue of the tribal intolerance is a generational thing. Yes.
So as we are growing, we are going to outgrow it.
What I mean by that is the younger people, if you just look at the society.
Yes.
Just look at the society. I don't know how old your children are. I don't know how many they are. I can assure you, if you have 5 children, by the time they are at the age of getting married, at least one will marry somebody from outside your tribe.
That's true.
So the people who preach the tribal hatred are actually the older generation who saw the Civil War, who saw the bickerings, who saw the struggle to have control. Because when the British left us, there was a scamper for control and dominance among the major tribes. That's what led to this distrust
that we now
we're
have.
dealing with now.
Okay, my producer is saying that Chris and Reverend Mother, they are going to take too much of our time, but because we have gone a little bit halfway in the discussion. So, Reverend Mom, we're going to come back to you when we take a break now so that Chris can have some water, because I know Reverend Mother is having some tea right there at home. Okay, so we'll take a break. Then when we come back, we'll go straight to Reverend Mother, and then we'll get our own side of that story. Stay with us.
We must dilate the eyes. We look for if they have cataract, look at the back of their eyes. They have glaucoma. We do a full workup for them.
You will remember our government should actually open their eyes, especially Southwest of the state.
When we looking deeper than we ever looked in before to ensure that we close all the loopholes.
It manifests as physical support. And
every edition is an arresting conversation with distinguished Nigerians from various strata of the society, bearing their minds on how we can realize the Nigeria of our dreams. Join us live on Close Flow, Monday, every week here on NTA2 Lagos Network Center. Close Flow. The conversation is about you.
All right, thank you for staying with us. Well, quickly, maybe I should let you also join the conversation. So let me run the numbers by you again. If my producer is ready to show us the numbers so that our viewers can call in and be a part of the conversation. Are we ready, my producer? Can we run the numbers on screen so everybody can be a part of this? We have on your WhatsApp, you can reach us on the 08020384130 on WhatsApp. 08020384130. Then on the SMS, that is a short message, 08063508434. 08063508434. No voice calls because we are having this Zoom adding to the conversation. So just drop the messages. We'll read out your messages so both of our guests can then respond. So Reverend Mother, quickly, Chris has given us his own side view. Let me say it that way so that we can look at a broad view. His own side view of ethnicism and tribalism and how our faith or our professed faith has not changed that in our mindsets as Nigerians. What do you say to that? We can see you, but we can't hear you. Okay, all right. Well, okay. Can we just go ahead? Go ahead. Okay, Reverend Mother is not ready for us. We'll come back to her.
Okay.
I think she's trying to adjust the set.
Yes.
Now, but quickly, something occurred to me, Chris. Are we sure that Nigeria is up to the next level of global revolution? Because we are talking of humanity here now. You just gave us an example. The younger generation may not be inclined to think the way we are doing ethnicity was. Now, in the new revolution coming up, we are looking at robotics. We are looking at artificial intelligence. We are looking at. Do you think Nigeria is prepared for that? Are we sure we can deal with that, sir?
Okay, there are many ways to look at that, just like many questions you've asked this morning. If you were looking at infrastructure base,
yes,
to say, are we ready for a revolution that is going to be powered by AI, artificial intelligence?
Yes.
You know, it may look like we are not, just like in many cases, because of the kind of people that we are. But if you look at the responses to revolutions in the past are usually based on the need on ground. I will say to you that yes, we are, because what's going to drive that technological revolution that will be powered by artificial intelligence and the like are problems on ground
that we need to solve.
That need to be solved. And in shopping for solutions to problems, and you see that a solution already exists somewhere, you have no choice but to embrace it. Many years back, somebody said it was going to be impossible for Nigerians to own cell phones. But where are we now? The average Nigerian has 2, 3. Even when you have one, they are dual SIM. You know, back in the day, the Nitel office wasn't too far from here. You know how tough it was to get a line and all of that. But see where we are now. You know, so if we asked ourselves then if we were ready, infrastructure-wise, it didn't look like we were ready. But we caught up with it, or it caught up with us.
Yes.
And we had to join the fray. And today is a thing of the past. You know, but more also in this particular technology thing that we're talking about, you find out that there are lots of Nigerian companies that are already playing in that space. Albeit small, they are not popular, they are not well known, except you are in the space where their services are needed and you are using them. If not, you wouldn't know. You know, so as long as it's technologically driven, I don't think we can be left behind. Nigeria always responds, Nigerians always respond and catch up with whatever is prevalent in the world.
Okay, I love that. That is very positive about Nigeria, that we can follow the trajectory of growth. Now, let's see if Reverend Mother is here with us now. Are you there with us? Yes, okay. Can we hear you now?
Okay, because you were talking about tribalism.
Yes, please.
Yes, it's like a chemical worm that has eaten deep into Nigeria and Nigerians. But then I want to say that it's a foundational problem. Even in our different places of worship, some religion, they believe so much in tribalism. And they teach their adherents about it. That if it is not for us, if it is not for my people, if it is not for my tongue, people who speak the same other tongue with me, then it can't be for any other. So you can see that the society is suffering, Nigerian society is suffering from all of this tribalism. Look at the election that just took place.
Yeah.
A lot of tribalism played out. So, but then, there is still hope. If we can go back and stop being selfish, if we can become patriotic, if we can think about Nigeria more than an individual tribe, an individual person, it will be a better place. It will help us a great deal. That everyone will come together and fight for Nigeria as a country, and not for my tribe or for my person. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Reverend Mother. Okay, again, you merged with Reverend Chris in that aspect, letting us see that, of course, if we just act as one, rather than as separate entities, then, of course, we can get our country. But some people are saying, let me go back to Reverend Mother so that before we lose her again, because of technical, like you said, infrastructure, so we can get it right this time. Some people are saying that if you're not careful, that there seems to be revolution on the street in Nigeria if you don't do or make the correct changes. How do you read that, Reverend Mother? Do you think that that is a question of faith, a question of life, or a question of true love? If there's revolution about Nigeria, are we saying that those who are asking for revolution love Nigeria more than the rest of us? What are we saying?
But I will say that many people are dissatisfied. They are disgruntled about the happenings in the country. And everyone who is dissatisfied is free to express himself or herself anywhere, anyhow he chooses. But then, in any case, whatever way you choose to express your dissatisfaction and you desire a change, shouldn't cause chaos, shouldn't cause problem for the country. So whether there is revolution, whether there is revolution on the streets of Nigeria or not, I would state in my own opinion that whosoever is dissatisfied should go through the right channel to ensure that peace prevails.
Brilliant. So, Chris, want to add to that? Reverend Mother, I'm going to come back to you because I've asked Chris to tell us about artificial intelligence. He has given us his own version, but maybe you have a different look at what we're looking at there because you're a teacher. Now, so, revolution on the street. She's saying that you have a choice.
Yeah. Yes, I'm not one of those that proponents of such, because my personal perspective is that to have a revolution, everybody loses. It's a chaotic situation.
Can you say that again for our viewers?
Yes.
My
view is that having a revolution in Nigeria will not achieve anything. The reason it won't achieve anything is because we have huge tribal divide that would make it impossible for an unorganized sect to achieve a unified goal. It's not going to work. Everybody's going to lose. Everybody is going to be a victim of it. Our differences would be so magnified that we won't be able to achieve anything. Okay, so instead of
in reverse, yes,
yes, in reverse, it will destroy the country more. So instead of following that line, of course, the revolution, thoughts for revolutions and all that clamor and all that, it's out of dissatisfaction.
Like you said,
in poor governance,
yes,
and all that. But I think the people who are really responsible for the situation of Nigeria are less than 1% of the population. And so that's why the only thing we need to do is to consistently insist on holding our leaders accountable, consistently participating in the electioneering process, and then go beyond there, come down lower to get involved in politics. Because many times we are left with choosing whatever options that 1% have thrown up for the 99% of us. That's why we have a problem. But if we get involved at the lower level, where those choices and alternatives are made, then we have a better quality, at the top, where people can then choose who to follow and all of that. And I think that's the way out. Anything that is not constitutional will not be to our advantage. And we have a lot of countries in Africa and around the world where we can easily see that following unconstitutional means to try to achieve national progress is almost an impossibility. So I would encourage people, to get involved in politics. I would encourage people to also be a solution provider, be an example of how it should be. So if I'm a better Nigerian, and you are a better Nigerian, and you are a better Nigerian, then Nigeria is better. But when we want to continue to cut corners and we want things to improve, come on, it's not going to work.
All right, so Chris is throwing it back to us. It says the ball is in your court. If you want the country to change and you want the narrative about Nigeria to be one of the best countries in the world, it starts with you. Now, Reverend Mother, are you here with us?
Yes, I can.
What do you want to say about your Reverend Gentleman's opinion, okay, about that? The fact that from that little corner that you occupy, you are also responsible for what happens to Nigeria. What do you say to that?
Yes, everyone is responsible. We are responsible we are all individually responsible for the state of our affairs in this country. But in a situation where you participate in the election, you do everything that is required of you, you obey the rule of law, and yes, you are denied. What do you do? So I try to question back to you, sir.
Reverend Mother, you unless you want to become the presenter, you cannot throw the question back to me. Okay, all right, what we'll do, we'll throw the question back to Reverend Chris. Okay, so Chris, Reverend Mother says, now you have joined them, you have humbled yourself, you have gone to the grassroots, you have participated, and yet you are denied. So what do you do?
Yeah, first thing, you have to deal with the denial. You have to deal with the experience of being heartbroken, to know that, okay, I've been disappointed, okay? Then you go back again and ask yourself, what would have been a better option? What would have been a better alternative? What else could I have done, in the sense that if I don't get involved in the process of selecting my leaders, was sitting aloft or standing aloft, would they have provided a better leader? Certainly not. So you stay in the system. You continue. One day will prevail. Now, let's even take the last election for instance. Let's just take that. How many people voted? How many people had PVC? INEC said about 93 million Nigerians, or 97
registered
had PVC. Yes. Those have collected PVC. Yes. How many people voted? Look at the number of people who voted for the APC, people who voted for PDP, and people who voted for
Labour.
Actually, those are the top three.
Yes.
Add those votes together. Let's even use the presidential election, for instance. How many were they?
Not over 9 million.
No, they were about 8.7 plus 6.9 plus 6.1. That's about 22 million people out of 90 something. That's a very low percentage. That's less than 30%. So imagine if the other people who had PVCs, who had the opportunity to vote, had voted, most likely the results will not be what we are talking about. So it comes back again to participation. It comes back to participation. You know, so if I look at some previous elections where you even had a lower turnout, go to the ward levels, you will be amazed to know that if you had a local government election, you may just be having 300 people choosing who is the local government chairman of a whole local government authority. Just imagine that. Yeah. Just imagine. Yeah. But the more people that are involved, and involved for the right reasons, not involved because the guy who is there speaks my language, he worships in the same place with me, he has the same name for God that I do. If you can overcome those parochial sentiments and go for quality, competence, then the result will be different. But when most of the people stand aloof and just watch and complain, then nothing happens.
All right, okay, the conversation is about you, all Nigerians, wherever you are, all over the world. Please join us, both Reverend Grace already, and Reverend Mother, they have given us some of their own views. We'd like to have your own questions or comments from wherever you are in the world. Please try and join us. WhatsApp us on 080-2038-4130. That is 080, just in case you want to hear it the way we say it here. 2038-4130, 080-2038-4130, or SMS us on 080-6350-8434. SMS on 080-6350-8434, so we can share your own comments and your views with our guests. Next, I want us to see how our faith should be modified by the level or the structure of educational policies or educational systems or educational rollout and orientation of our people. Where do we sit on those trajectories? Maybe I should start with Chris. Yes?
Coming to education, well, we need to appreciate the importance of education. Not too long ago, we talked about the incidence of tribalism, you know, and ethnicity, how it has divided us a lot more. You would find out, although I will admit firsthand that there are also some so-called elites who are supposed to be educated and enlightened who are still tribally bigoted. You know, they're so deep into it. Of course, you go back again to their background and their age bracket. You know, it comes back again to what I was saying. But I think that the more educated people are, the more open they are for tolerance, the more open they are for solution-minded thinking, the more open they are for having alternatives on how to better their lives. You know, so if you want to really get the best from the environment, you must be educated enough to know what is available. How can you combine the things that are available? So if the proponents of the major faiths in Nigeria push education, education helps to increase the quality of the individual, increase his standard of living, increase his mind view, his perception of society and his neighbor, and invariably affects the quality of the choices that he makes, including who governs us.
All right, Reverend Mother, again, your young man, Reverend Chris, has copied you because you're the teacher. So now, give us your profound thoughts about how, yes, because you're a teacher, you're principally a teacher, so let us borrow your brains. So educational structure, educational policy, and how our faith can help us to use that to change the story of Nigeria. There's a little delay from your end. Yes.
Hello, I can't hear you.
Okay, you did not hear us. All right, again, did you hear a little bit of what Chris was saying?
I didn't even hear.
Okay, all right, let's take it straight from you. So we will now double the benefit. We are saying to ourselves that if you're looking at the educational structure for Nigeria, the educational policy, even the orientation of Nigerians, how can we employ our faith to improve or to master what our educational system should give to us?
I've lost
you. You still did not hear me?
She did not.
Oh, you lost us.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, let me apologize about that. I will do it again. Maybe I should do it slowly. What we want from you, Reverend Mother, is your experience as a teacher. How can you help us use your faith and conviction to teach Nigerians to see better, to be better educated, and use that knowledge to change our story?
Hello, can you hear me?
We can hear you, but it's like you're not hearing us.
She's not.
I can't hear you.
That means there's a challenge from that end.
I only hear you talking about your educational policy.
Yes, and how our faith, our belief system can help us improve that.
Yes. Our educational policy can go a long way to help us, because education is meant to refine us, make us a better people. But unfortunately, even our educational policies are not, there are a lot of problems that we still have to deal with before we talk about the policies helping us as a people.
Okay, that means we're going to take this conversation to the next level. First, Reverend Mother, let me quickly thank you for being on the show with us. We are going to be able to, we should be able to call you back again so we can expand the territory of what we are trying to discuss. Again, thank you so much for joining us on NTA2.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Next one, I'm sure you will have you in Lagos here and not on Zoom, no matter what the traffic situation is.
By God's grace.
All right. Thank you, Reverend Mother. And Reverend Chris, before Reverend Mother goes, I've said that Reverend Chris will soon become a professor, and that's what we're going to be calling him. You're welcome to the show.
Thank you for having
so
me.
much.
I'm so grateful.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right, for our viewers, it's never over. It's a pity many of you did not join us because maybe you are enjoying your Easter tide on the street, having some jollof rice or something. Whatever the case is, the conversation is never over on Close Flow. Go to all our social media handles, or the social media platforms, and then add your own bit of a question, query, or comment to what our two distinguished guests have shared with us today. So until next week, it is bye from us.